of black people, period. Okay? The big one that we are dealing with in these days is the absolute false notion that the Panther Party has always been for homosexuals. They always supported homosexuals. That is 100% not true. I know it's going to upset a lot of you, but it is 100% not true. The founders, when we were young, the whole thing was that this thing of yes, there were black people that were getting caught up with whites, and it appears that you didn't see a whole lot of it, other than you heard little whispers of it, that the musician in the church might be a little swing both ways, they used to say. But nobody talked about it, and people only whispered about it, and they were good musicians, so the church let them stay there, let them on in. And the church seemed to be welcoming in a lot of things that the Panthers found detrimental to the black community. But you had these whites started coming in the 70s, and there was always this stuff about free love, and they were protesting all kinds of stuff, and you had all these white women coming in, and you had all these white guys coming in, and suddenly you had this talk that was these arguments that were happening between black community Panthers and the people that were with the ones that were with the founders. You stopped seeing the founders anywhere anymore. They were all in different conflicts of their own, or different situations that had taken them out of the community that they had created with the ones that went with them. But the ones that had went with the founders, you saw them getting into all kinds of things, and the elders still cared for these. For them, they still reached out to them, and they still tried to get them to understand the path that they were going down was completely off mission, was completely off track from what was started, and many of them simply didn't want to hear. Some of them were like, they listened to the elders and they came back to the community. But others, a majority of them, had gotten so into all of these things that whites were bringing that they seemed completely lost. And one of the things that they were getting into was this whole thing of black males saying they wanted to be with two women, or they wanted to be with multiple women at the same time. And this played into white women's hands and white men's hands very, very well, because you now had these white women that were coming down and talking to the black female Panthers that had went with the founders, and they were talking about all this feminist stuff. That's when you first started hearing that word, feminism this and feminism that. And in the black community, you didn't really hear that word much until all these white women started coming in and talking to, you would hear them talking to the older black women, and they would be talking about, how the men you heard words like male chauvinists, and talking to the women about how the black males were treating the black women, and trying to get the black women to come over and team up with white women. And you saw it happening. You saw black women suddenly having a lot of anger toward black males. And it wasn't all the black women's fault. The black males were saying and doing things that were extremely disrespectful. And the white women seemed to take advantage of that. Next thing you knew, you had a couple of the females, one of the females from the beginning, and you had several of the females that had joined over with her, you saw them separating. The ones that left, you saw them even separating from you saw the females separating from the males that had left. And so you would have a bunch of females having meetings and a bunch of males having meetings over to a whole different place. And the females, you have children that go and try to sneak, because we still, like I said, we still have care for them. They left the community, but you still care for them. You still know them. You still want to see if everybody all right. So there were places that children would still sneak to, even though they weren't supposed to, and you would hear all these things that were extremely confusing, because now you had females saying that they were in relationships with white women. And you would hear males saying that they have, these two women, or they have a white woman and a black woman. And you started hearing all the arguments that were going on between black males and black females. And one of the main arguments that we were hearing was that black women were getting upset because black males were talking about all this blackness and being proud to be black and all these things. But they seemed to get with white women and light women. And so it became a thing that the black males actually seemed to be against black women. Even though they talk about, black males and black females being together and whatnot, when you look at it, and elders always said, no matter what somebody said, look deeper. When you look at the situation, all of the males that were, not all of them, but the males that I'm talking about, all of their females were either like white or white. And that made their message seem like they were not telling the truth. And you had some of them were with multiple white women. And it just, at that point, the community Panthers, the elders and different people pretty much banned children from even being anywhere around them. And that's where you saw the complete separation from the community, that the founders and those that went with the founders, that complete break. That was in the 70s. And so when people say that whites have always been accepted, that white, Hispanics, white Asians, white whatever, have always been accepted, that is not true. That actually, when whites started coming in, it actually broke apart the founders from the black community Panthers. And all the black community Panthers, doctors, lawyers, teachers, whoever, continued on with the programs and doing what they do. It completely broke them off, or they completely broke off from the Panthers, who, according to elders don't bite their tongues, had lost their minds.